Headaches can be so annoying and they can be so frustrating, particularly when they're just not going away and particularly when you get it regularly. So in this video, I'm going to show you 7 ways in which you can relieve or at least reduce a headache without drugs and from the comfort of your own home. Let's begin. Hello, my name is Dr. Stephen Hulme. I'm a chiropractor. I'm based in Reading and I'm also doing some mobile stuff across the Oxfordshire area. And in this video, I wanted to speak a little bit about headaches because headaches are very, very common and they can be very, very frustrating when you are suffering from them. And sometimes it can actually be very hard to get any kind of relief. Now, before you go and rush to go and get that paracetamol, I just wanted to go through some ways in which you can relieve headaches without having to need the paracetamol. Or if you've tried taking paracetamol and it's not working, then some of these ways actually might help when the drugs don't. The first thing to say about headaches is that there are so many different things which can cause headaches, and these things are only going to really work depending on the cause. Now, one of the most common types of headaches that people will experience at some point in their lives most likely is a tension type headache. This is the type of headache that you tend to get when the muscles within your neck usually will refer pain into the head. And that can happen when there's tightness or fatigue within those muscles, and then it starts referring the pain. And so my first way to reduce a headache, and this may seem very obvious, but you have to rule this out first, is hydration. As soon as you feel the headache coming on, then just make sure that you're drinking lots and lots of water. Drink way more water than you think you should, because if it is due to dehydration, then that's quite an easy one to fix. And it would be a little bit silly to go through most of the day with a headache when you could have just sorted it out by drinking some water. So make sure that's one of the first things you do when you do get a headache. Number 2 is going to be to drink coffee. And that might seem like an odd one because coffee can actually be the thing that can sometimes cause a headache if, for example, you drink a lot of coffee and you drink it regularly for long periods of time and then you come off it. Then it can cause a headache. But drinking coffee, and particularly when you're not addicted to coffee, when you get a headache, can sometimes actually relieve that headache. And this actually happened to me just a few weeks ago, is that I did get a headache and I thought I'll try this and I'll have some coffee, and the headache did go within about 15 to 20 minutes. You may have also noticed that when you go to buy paracetamol, you can actually get it with caffeine. And that's just because they've realized that caffeine can be quite effective at reducing pain, and it can also be effective to some degree for migraines. And the reason why is because when you drink coffee, what it does is it constricts the blood vessels in your brain. And the mechanism of a migraine is that the vessels within your head will dilate, which then triggers the pain response. So by drinking the coffee, you can sometimes reduce that dilation and therefore reduce the pain, but it can also be effective in tension type headaches as well. So that can be a nice thing to try. You may want to weigh up whether you want to do that just before bed, particularly if it's going to affect your sleep. It may be better to be able to get some sleep rather than taking the caffeine and staying up all night. Number 3 is to go for a walk. Now, this will very much depend on the cause of the headache, because some headaches actually might feel worse by the end of that walk, but some headaches can actually feel better. Now, tension time headaches, in the short term, you might not feel like going for a walk, but quite often by the end of the walk, it can actually make you feel better. And the reason why is because you're starting to move your neck, you're starting to move your body generally, which can be fairly good at just relieving some tension within the neck there. So that is certainly something to try, and then at least you'll know next time you get that type of headache whether a walk helps or not. And maybe go for a short walk if you're not sure, because as I say, sometimes it might make it feel a little bit worse. Number 4 is to sit up. This is perhaps an obvious one, but particularly if you work at your desk for long periods of time, if your head is forward even by a little bit, and if it's in that position for a long period of time, then your muscles of your neck, particularly your upper trapezius muscles, which are the big muscles on the sides of your neck, they're going to be pulling your head constantly back to stop your head from falling forward. And over time, what happens is that muscle goes into anaerobic respiration, where it's trying to function without oxygen. You get a buildup of lactic acid that creates a dysfunction within that muscle, and it can trigger a pain response, and that pain will typically refer into the head, and that's really the one of the main mechanisms for tension type headaches. And so if you're at the desk and your head is forwards, one of the best things you're going to be able to do for that headache is just to bring your head back. Make sure your head is balancing over your shoulders to take the pressure off of those muscles, and you should see those headaches reduce. And then number 5 is going to be to lie down. If the pain is caused within the neck, within the muscles of the neck, then lying down is going to just take the pressure and the tension off those muscles, and you should find some nice relief from that. Number 6 is going to be an upper trapezius muscle stretch. This will help to just reduce the tension within those upper traps, which, as I said earlier, are the muscles on the sides of your neck. And these are not the only muscles that cause tension headaches, but they are the most common, probably by far. So what we're going to do with this one is if you stay seated and then just place a hand underneath the chair or underneath your bum, and then you can use your other hand, place it on the opposite side and slightly back of your head, and then you're going to pull it off to the side, and then you're going to turn it a little bit to the other side. So in this example, we're leaning to the right, we're turning the head to the left, and then you just slightly bring it forward, and then you push in that kind of diagonal position while keeping the hand and on the other side kind of anchored down to make sure the shoulder is stretched down. That's going to pull the other side of the muscle. You should be able to feel that stretch go across your neck there. If you're not feeling it, then you just need to play around with how much you're leaning it to the side, how much you're rotating it to the opposite side, and how much forwards you're bringing it. You should be able to find some nice relief from that stretch if that's the cause of the problem. You can obviously then repeat this on the other side. I suggest holding this for about 20 to 30 seconds at a time. Then the final thing, number 7, is going to be a heat pack. When we talk about ice and heat, generally when we talk about the muscles, heat is generally better. And the reason why is because as you place heat onto the muscle, it increases the blood flow into that muscle, which then helps the healing process. So heat around the shoulder, top of the shoulders, and the side of the neck. If you feel this on one side, then you could perhaps just do it on one side. If you feel it on both sides, then put it on both sides. You might want to do both sides anyway. The other thing you do here is you can have a hot bath, because that will help to increase the heat and therefore blood flow into the muscles and help them to relax, and also help them to reduce the tension. So they're my 7 best things. If you have any extra, anything you wanted to add, then put them into the comments. If there's anything that you've tried personally that you found worked really well, particularly for tension type headaches, then put them in the comments, and we can learn from each other. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to find out more about the healing properties of coffee, then check out my video here as I go through that. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on my next video. Take care. Bye bye.